Hey everyone, it's Patchdam Bogat. I'm here showing you my tarot cards for the day. I know my table's a little bit rusty due to a lot of the particles of the sun, but I tried to do my best so that I could show you. There we go. Yeah, it's just like I try to show you through the tarot card readings how I'm able to view my workings with Sorath. Do tarot card readings. He helped me to appreciate where I stand in the month of March and how I'm able to get better results and how I'm supposed to work with him. And actually, into the future, even though we're talking about the month of March, because it's going to be in a month to month basis as I work with Sorath. I mean, he is a part of my team, even though it is Satan who is the main, let's say, guardian daemon that I work with. But during that tarot card reading, it was very, very important to me because it's given such a beautiful amount of wealth of information. Like, for example, the biggest problem that I had by working with Sorath is the fact that he was actually bringing to the surface a lot of the problems that I had to actually contend with to face it and actually solve them. But how could I if the answer wasn't so available? So, yesterday he actually encouraged me to do a lot of intuition to actually pick up a tarot card deck and do it. Do a spread to see how could I solve this particular problem by means of finding a solution. And he's done so. So if you paid attention to that spread, the slightly negative thing that was actually there was the moon card. It's not really a negative card, but it was slightly negative because being a tarot card reader myself, that was the main focal point on how I was supposed to look at a particular problem and then solve it. So, by means of looking at the moon card, it helped me to appreciate that I had an illusion that I was looking at. And that was actually distracting me from my main goal. So, what I had to do? Well, Sorath helped me to appreciate that through my intuition. Looking at the moon card was actually twofold. The problem was an illusion. The solution was not just the rest of the spread, but also, believe it or not, was also that same card, the moon card, helping me to appreciate that I had to be intuitive. I had to feel out the situation, not so much fill out the situation by means of how we normally would to solve a problem, do intellect. Hence, that's why the Emperor card shows up. The Emperor card is a very principled individual. He has wealth, vast resources, but he's very principled. He's very principled because he has to stick to a paradigm that works for himself and for the rest of the kingdom. And if you think about that, you yourself may be the empress or the emperor. But the emperor, though it can be also seen in the feminine, we look at the emperor card by helping us to appreciate that if you're an individual that looks at things in a systematic way that is quite rigid, well, it's not a bad thing completely because after all, the king is the one who is the representation of the kingdom. Just like if you put that in layman terms, you are the head of the householder. You're the person who is the individual who brings in that bread-winning money, who makes the family prosper. There's nothing wrong with that. But however, you're not really paying attention to your intuition, the feminine side. And that's why I brought up the moon card. I had to actually hint or dig deep within my feminine or the intuition side of myself and to really feel out my situation. Not so much try to solve it with intellect. So by looking at the moon card, like I said, it was a double standard, but I was able to actually look at it to look at, well, the answer. I saw other cards within the spread. Like, for example, it had the Hermit card. And mind you, as I look over here, that's where my cards are at. So it's not like it's an outline that I'm reading, it's the actual cards themselves. So I'm looking over here, and I see the card of the Hermit, right? Which is right over here. I know it's too much glare, but it's the Hermit card. And looking at the Hermit card, it helped me to appreciate that I have to look within. And looking within myself was actually a very beautiful thing. And the very reason why I did that is because there lies the answers. Isn't it true sometimes that we don't have to go to the internet, we don't have to go to this person or that person? The answers are within because we already learn it, but we forget to remember. Well, that's what the Hermit card is there for. You see, I already had the answer. And the answer is that whatever problem I was dealing with, which was a lot to do with my path working with wealth and prosperity, I was being too rigid by looking at the 4 to 5 year plan. Meaning it takes 4 to 5 years to actually produce great wealth and great prosperity. Even though that 4 to 5 year plan works for a lot of light workers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, being the fact that I'm on the left hand path, I don't mind adopting new teachings, even if it's nuanced, because it works. If you get results, use it, right? But yet, I had to look within. And there lies the intuition. That's why the moon card comes into play. Use that intuition. It's not all about the logical aspect of it. Don't try to stick to a particular plan, because sometimes it may just not end up that way to the T. You have to live in such a way where you're like the other card here, the Temperance. And the Temperance card is actually very interesting because it's about balance. It's about calmness, right? And if you're a calm person and you're someone who wants to look at things in a balanced way, you're going to see it in a more flexible point of view. So therefore, as I'm imitating the Hermit, looking within, finding that solution, being intuitive, I'm being balanced at the same time. So if it's 4 to 5 years, that within itself is actually calls for being balanced, because it's not saying it will be the full-on 5 years, because it could be just 4 years or so. So it's like, if you limit yourself, you're being strict, you're going to end up not doing so well because you're going to cut yourself short. But if you balance, and if it actually does take 5 years and not 4 years, why does it really matter? But if you're balanced, you're willing to be more receptive and be more understanding and reasonable towards your approach in your manifestation. And that's how divination actually does work, in the sense of this particular spread. And that's what Sorath was helping me to appreciate. In fact, he was also helping me to appreciate that during the whole entire time of looking at this spread, I looked at the Lover's Arcana. He's not changing the subject altogether by saying, well, now you have to go find a female. Well, no, the Lover's Arcana is not so much about finding a female, but looking at the relationship that I have with Sorath, looking at the relationship that I have on the left-hand path. So, in other words, looking at the results along the way that I see, how is it by looking at the results I'm able to benefit from it? Well, I'm able to benefit from it based off of what I said prior to bringing up the Lover's Arcana. See, looking within myself, I see the solution that as I'm on the left-hand path, I benefited so much. I benefited so much because it got me to where I'm at right now. Hence, I'm able to be very happy. And being happy is a good thing. In fact, it should motivate a lot of people to do more. In fact, even under challenging situations, you still want to try to find that happiness even though you're not, so you could pull through all that darkness so that you can see the light. You can see solutions. And that's what the Lover's Arcana has helped me to appreciate. Look at the relationship that I have between my path work and see how important it really is to me, because it is very important. That's why I do the things I do, like tarot card readings, because I know by looking at it, I'm going to benefit. And how do I benefit? Well, you have the Wheel of Fortune, and then you have a minor arcana like the King of Pentacles. Again, those two cards represent my path working. And what's the path working once again? Well, it's really about the wealth and prosperity. As I look at that, even though it's my own personal tarot card reading, it really does help me to appreciate I need to stay focused on that, because that's what matters most. And that is what keeps me doing what I'm doing, even though it's not about money within itself, because money is just a tool. It's like being a custodian. You have all the keys to that particular building, but that's all it really is. You have a lot of freedom. You have the keys to do what you can, to do what you want, but that's all it does. It doesn't buy love, and we need to understand that. And that's why when I look at other arcanas, such as the World, which is also the last arcana in this tarot card reading, it helped me to appreciate that at the end of the matter, when I'm working with Sorath, it helps me to appreciate that that's what I need to focus on. It reminds me a little bit about what Satan helped me to appreciate about the better part of Satan's nature. When the going gets tough, you have to look at the better part of his nature, because that's all you really have. Because when you're on the left-hand path, when you're actually working hard, it's going to get really tough. Because for some reason, the Matrix, the world, and what I mean by the world, I don't mean the arcana. I mean the world in a sense of the Matrix. It doesn't want you to proceed to be better than yourself. It wants you to remain to be slavish, to continue doing what you're doing now, without paying attention to your ascension. That's why when you look at the whole entire spread as a whole, and you leave it to that world card, which is the conclusion of it all, you have to appreciate the whole entire spread to appreciate the conclusion of everything, the ending of it all. Because that's what matters. And why does it matter? Because that's the finale of it all. Because, like in all books, to appreciate the ending, you have to look at the journey and what it took for the main characters to get to where they're at. And that's what that tarot card reading the world means to me. Looking at my path working with Sorath, he simply did what I asked him to motivate me, to help challenge me, so that I could go past all these illusions, well, in this case, one illusion, to move forward in my life so I could benefit myself. And I love Sorath for that. I thank him for that. And you too could do the same thing if you work with Sorath, or if you continue to do tarot card readings, so that you could benefit. So with that said, I hope you appreciate my own personal tarot card readings, and I will do tarot card readings for you guys as well. So when you do look at the playlist of the tarot card reading, do know I will give you guys one of your own personal reading. Either be a weekly basis, a monthly basis, or even throughout the year. It's going to be waiting for you. So please, stay tuned and watch my next video, because it's going to help you appreciate that as you look at my tarot card readings, and hopefully it resonates with you, you can see how spot on it is, and it could benefit you in your life. Thank you all for watching. But if you want, subscribe to my channel, and also smash the help button so that you too could better appreciate the left-hand path and the tarot card readings. Thank you all. Have a good one. Love you all.